Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Chasing Rabbits. My name is Scott Brown, and you have found my vlog dedicated to helping you become the leader you always wished that you had worked for. So there's a thought when it comes to leadership and management, really, that talks about always being on the way. Never ever getting to exactly where you're trying to go, but always being on the way to something better. The thought behind it is that you're never satisfied, that you're always pushing yourself, you're always trying to get further. Well, there's a couple problems with always being on the way. The first is that there's no recognition for ever having achieved something because it's all just a random milestone that your followers know you're just going to pass by. You're not going to stop and savor the moment and refocus on where you're supposed to go to next. If we were supposed to go to somewhere next for a while. Something that's okay just to rest somewhere. The second problem with being on the way, after telling your people that, well, they're never going to achieve something because the goalposts are going to always move, but the second big problem is when you're always on the way, you never stop to smell the roses along the way. Why that's important is that your journey is sometimes the most valuable part of where you're trying to go. It's not the destination that matters, it's what you learn along the way to get there. And sometimes as you stop and smell the roses, you stop and pay attention to what's happening along the way before you get to where it is that you're trying to go. That's where the real learning happens. So there's a couple of great things about paying attention to what's happening along the way. The first is you develop better relationships with the people whom are following you. The reason why you develop better relationships is you're checking in with them to learn not just about how the organization is doing, but about how they are doing. As we have been separated now for, what is this, like 9 months, 10 months, 11 months like that, since we first went on lockdown for COVID last March, this separation has put an additional barrier in knowing how people are and being able to really understand how they are faring on the journey to get to wherever it is you're trying to take them. You no longer have that one-on-one physical contact where you can sense the body language, you can pick up on those micro expressions, on those micro movements that sometimes are just almost imperceivable to the naked eye, but you feel them. You can feel the tension, you can feel the angst, you can feel the happiness. This disconnection where we're only showing what we want people to see because we're only showing, well, I'm showing from like the chest up right now, but you never really see the whole person, you never experience the whole person. If you really care about learning what's happening with your team and creating an environment where they are going to be able to truly succeed and evolve on their journey, you're going to have to slow down and talk to them. One of the best ways, and I did this for years, and even though we've been on Zoom now for a long time, I never thought that we'd bring it back. I did this for a long time when I was in the corporate environment. I used to ask people for an adjective to describe how they're feeling. I used to call it the personal adjective. And what that meant is we would go around before a meeting started, and I would ask everyone to describe how they're doing in a personal adjective. What that means is you would say, I am, and then follow that with either one or two words to describe how you are. That did a couple of things. One, it gave permission for people to not be okay, to know that there was a safety net, that we cared about them as individuals, not just as employees. Investing in someone as a person is a far different investment than just investing them as an employee. When you give them that safety net to express how they are really doing, to express what they're going through, not just in your working relationship, but in life as a whole, it gives that safety net, it allows them to show the vulnerability that they need to then be able to apply that vulnerability to other situations when they need to learn, when they need to grow, when they're struggling with something mightily, they're going to be more willing to ask for help. So what that looks like oftentimes is as you say, I am, you're going to hear things like, I am happy, I am sad, I'm overwhelmed, I am disillusioned, I'm concerned, I'm lonely. All of those are adjectives that describe the individual. They take ownership of that, but they're also giving you an insight into how they're doing. And then your goal, your responsibility with that is to give them the space and to give them an environment where we can work through that so that they know how they are faring, and you can change your interactions with them to help them improve. This isn't saying that it's a license for someone to unload their personal, to unload all of their baggage on you and for you to take care of it. That's not what this is about. The personal adjective exercise is about helping them to connect. It's about building that connection so that you know when someone is struggling, you know when someone is not struggling, and everybody on your team can help bring those people along who may be having a harder time. I think these days that we are all separated, that we are only connected through a webcam, that we are only connected through an iPhone, it's more important than ever to be able to create that safety net, to create that sense of vulnerability within your team so that they know that you're with them and you're going to help them, not just within their job, to help them figure the whole thing out, because they're bringing their whole person to the workplace, and your responsibility is to help that whole person succeed. Not everybody does this extremely well. It takes practice. It can be mightily uncomfortable when you start. Because if you're not used to having a conversation with somebody about how they are physically doing, how they are mentally doing, how they are emotionally faring, it's uncomfortable. It's going to take practice. But in time, what's going to evolve is you're going to develop a closer relationship. So as you're still on the way, you're going to be able to sense signs of when you need to slow down and when you can speed up. Our lives are always measured in some way by where we're going and where we're trying to get. But it doesn't mean that we can't take the time to ensure that those coming with us, we're not dropping off, that we're not leaving behind for our own gain, for our own practicality. When you ask that personal adjective, you build a relationship, you build reciprocity in the relationship, you build a safety net. And that safety factor is immeasurable, especially during times when all we want is just some sense of connection and normalcy that we've all lost in these last 9 months. So practice the exercise. Practice with those whom are close to you before you roll this out to a larger group. Practice ensuring that you can process what you're going to hear back, because it's not going to be comfortable the first few times that you do. But when you do, when you're able to figure out how to process this and give individuals the support they need to help them get to where they're trying to go, you're going to find that you're going to create immense levels of engagement you could have never done in any other way. So until tomorrow, I thank you very much for joining me. Jeff Hastings, always fantastic to see you. I wish I was in warm Florida right now, but we are in snowy and icy Indiana, but we are always on our way, and I'm always looking forward to a better connection with my friends, my family, my followers, and I hope all of you have a wonderful night tonight. And remember, it's not the destination that matters, it's what you learn along the way to the destination. Ask that personal adjective question, and you'll find those connections help you experience more, learn more, and grow more than you ever could otherwise. Until tomorrow, toast on, my friends. Have a wonderful night, and we will see you tomorrow for another edition of Chasing Rabbits. Be well, my friends.